circle back real quick to the doctor thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you it seems to me you're saying that we need to count or could track the energy around the doctor treating the shoemaker into the cost analysis or whatever, into the economy of the shoes that are produced after that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Whatever money was made from those shoes, in this scenario, none of it's going to the doctor, but without that doctor, those shoes during that time frame would not have been produced. So who is the one actually paying, for example, with their labor for the manufacturing of those shoes?
Okay, I got it.
You're saying the
Mhm.
doctor is right. That's what you said.
The
right?
doctor, yeah.
But the cobbler didn't pay the doctor.
The cobbler paid the doctor, but I'm talking
That,
about the shoes.
but the exchange was that the cobbler paid the doctor for his
But you're talking
help.
about the whole economic system, right? Like you're saying
In
that's
Precisely.
its
what, yeah.
entirety, not just the
Yes.
bartering.
Yeah.
Yes, not
Not
just the
just the
exchange.
exchange, the
Exactly.
system, that the exchange that's happening
Entirety.
within
The
the
entire
system.
organism.
So it's like, it's making me
Oh.
think like, okay, value system, like where does value come into this? And then also like, okay, you know, people say that like we as humans or whatever are like the universe expressing itself or the universe experiencing itself. It's almost like money is the economic organism experiencing itself or expressing itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so money is the spirit expressing itself within the economic organism.
Yeah.
This is one elaborate cosplay.
Wait, so are you also saying that so the doctor treated the cobbler,
Yes.
took 3 weeks. Cobbler paid the doctor for that treatment, but that payment was only sufficient within a small box of systems, like I was saying, guessing at the actual energy exchange. And then the reality is the energy exchange was much greater because he saved the cobbler's life.
No, I think you're missing the point entirely because I gave
Yeah,
two
I think I am.
hypotheticals. Let me reduce it to one hypothetical. Cobbler is sick. Cobbler needs a doctor. Cobbler gets a doctor who's great. Most doctors suck. This doctor's great. Sorry, I digress. That's my opinion on doctors. No, I'm just kidding. So he gets well in a week. It's miraculous, right? Therefore, whereas, pulling this other example in for a second, he would have been not able to produce any shoes for 3 weeks if any other shitty doctor would have attended to him. He has a week of being ill, and as soon as he is well, he goes and sets about making those shoes. For some period after that, this is where, again, the fluidity comes in. The person who paid for the manufacturing of those shoes is the doctor. Because without the doctor, those shoes at that time would not have been manufactured. They would have not been produced.
Right, but isn't the better doctor more expensive?
Isn't the better doctor more expensive?
But that's where the time
That's
comes
not
in.
the-
Had he paid the shitty doctor, he would have been sick longer, which like takes you out of the economic system longer. This way, he basically got 2 weeks back, you know, and so he was able to like start producing. So the better doctor is going to get you back in the system sooner. So this is where like time
Yeah,
is almost
yeah.
factored into the
That only makes sense if the price was the same, though. If it was $10 for a shitty doctor, but then it would be 3 weeks till they got better and only $10 for the good one that did it in a week, then that makes sense.
Ian, the point isn't who the money should have gone to. The point is thinking bigger picture about the chain, for example, the sequence of the economic system in everyday living. No matter how high the price was, no matter how long even if he was ill for 3 weeks. The fact that a doctor intervened and enabled him again to manufacture shoes, some part of that labor or that commodity or that product was manufactured by the doctor. No matter which way you slice that cake.
Yeah. I wanted to ask,
I don't
what's
get it.
fixing my attention is, I think Vanessa mentioned something about value. What I always, how can like, you know, certain things that are, like a baseball card can cost $3 million. It's the value is what someone's willing to pay. So in regards to what someone's willing to pay in the economic system, like, do you have any thoughts on that? I don't know. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, no, this is all part and parcel. This is all great. Like I think one of the things that if you really encourage people to like walk themselves down the path of understanding hangups or even like anger based thoughts around money, they would get to a point where they either can or cannot accept that no one can determine the value of something for somebody else. You know, no one can do that. So what people desire, what people decide is valuable is entirely up to them. As for the reasons why people, desire things or value things, that would be, now we're branching into the realm of things like psychology and other things from there on. But yeah, people value things and you can't decide.
There's such an imbalance though in the world. Like if someone can pay $10 million for a baseball card just so he can say, I have this baseball card,
Mhm.
you know, it's reputation, but
Well, the
Then that makes
university,
you an asshole. No, I'm just joking.
I mean, does it though? The thing is that we live in an abundant universe. These are more things that I think piss people off. Some people. So from the perspective of the universe, it is really just as easy to procure a penny than it is to procure $1 million. The complexity of the human being with all of their thoughts and belief systems and all the things, I won't go down a laundry list here, is what really adds dimension, color, and drama, and a lot of times a lot of unnecessary strife, suffering, and difficulty and challenge around these things. And if it were able to be rectified or played with, or if it was more malleable at this point in time in our evolution, then you'd see people, for example, procuring what we would describe as large levels of wealth or money fairly quickly once they really started to grasp hold of this idea. But for most people, it takes years and years and years of conscientious, devoted, and consistent reworking of these things to actually procure the kind of capital that they are trying to see. Now, when it comes to, if someone has tens of millions of dollars and they love baseball and they want to buy a $10 million baseball card, as I see it, that's their prerogative. The reason why poor people stay poor, they say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, is because, for example, when we think of people who were born into families who were born into some inheritance of a lot of accumulated wealth and capital, it is really not in their perception, in their conception at all, to have lack in that area. There are a lot of things that a lot of people have no concept of that a lot of other people have only that concept of.
Right, the law of
is the
attraction.
relationship with money or what do you,
Yeah, the
how
relationship
they
with
view
so, like,
money?
So, like, if someone is born in an environment where lack is rare, it wouldn't occur to them to operate under any other framework.
Hmm.
No,
So then, and of course, that's all things staying the same. They could step outside of the door and have a different experience that could have them, shift the lock or the pulley in their belief system and lose a lot. But the point is, there's this set point that you could say under those conditions would preset them with ideas that would not be a hindrance to the inflow of money.
absolutely. Very beautifully stated.
Yeah, isn't
Absolutely.
that's like the
Use
law
the
of
word
attraction,
hindrance.
right?
So that again,
Yes, the
Adam?
law.
It's a good use of the word hindrance.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like
My
the
I
law of
agree.
serious stroke
attraction. You
cue.
know?
You feel my serious stroke? Anyways, yeah.
Yes, law of attraction, yes, and law of resonance.
Resonance as well, because fear and obsession will, be treated in the inverted way. If you
Yes.
fear being poor, then it's more likely you'll stay poor.
Yeah, and if you are angry or have moral or ethical or religious hangups, concerns, and judgments about being wealthy or about people who are wealthy, then you won't be, because you can't become something that you don't actually want.
Right.
It's impossible.
What
It's
you damn
impossible around
You
these
manifest
parts.
your own beliefs is what I'm hearing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's pretty much my view of money to the T, is that I've never, I mean, Nio knows this. She asked me to come to it anyway, but like,
I mean, this isn't new.
I think it's all a thing of
That's
belief.
I feel like
Yeah.
this segment is, I'm sure, not at all an entirely novel concept to you folks. But some of the things that I'd like to share with you here in a moment, perhaps they are. Only problem is I have to run to the restroom. So please excuse me, I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Adam and Aaron, where do you guys live?
I'm in Minnesota,
Oh,
but I think Aaron, are you there?
I'm in Denver. Yes, I'm here.
Denver, nice.
So where are you?
I'm in Kansas City.
Oh,
Midwest.
I would
Raina,
talk
where are you on
trash,
the
but I
planet right
can't
now?
since you guys are national championships times 2.
Yes,
Times like
indeed.
4. What do you 3?
Raina, where
What?
are
I
you?
was just testing you, Adam.
I'm back in New
quiet.
York. No,
You're
I'm
back
back in New York. I'm back in, yeah, it's been a lot, but I'm back in New York.
Okay,
Yeah.
why are you so quiet though?
Is
I
the-
had a lot of running around. Even while this was happening. Can I get my time back? Like, because my time that I spent off screen, I don't think I got paid well for it.
What's your relationship
Oh,
with
yeah,
money?
let's get to
If
that.
we can do,
that-
if we can get
if
that,
we can
like,
get to that part, that'd be great.
yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold yet that I. Or maybe
Waiting for
somebody
those
else,
unpaid
or
invoices.
who else paid for it? Because I'm hoping I didn't. So. Wait, so am I just looking for like a Dr. Sugar Daddy? Is this the point? Is he supposed to be paying my bills? Like,
That's a viewpoint. You know,
I mean,
you can create
what's
that
happening
if you
here?
want to
I'm looking
create
for that
that, have that
doctor.
belief.
yeah.
who said that?
Actually, I know a whole doctor's
Vanessa.
office full of those people. I call them the hot nerds office that I go to. So
Fantastic. I don't know what I missed, but it seemed like it was real juicy. Yeah.
No, not so much.
Vanessa was like, how do I get the
Just that.
cobbler and the doctor?
I know. I'm like, I like the cobbler. Obviously, is going to be a better lay. I mean, the cobbler's definitely hotter than the doctor, but we need the doctor's money. So
Yes.
Yeah.
cobbler and I can eat
Let me
well,
get the
okay?
cobbler.
Abundance. Why do we have to choose?
I'm not gonna just choose one, okay?
Aaron said it. Aaron said it right there.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to choose.
I really don't.
Mhm. No, no, no. So, okay. This is a thing I'd very much like your feedback on. Something that I have learned, this is coming more from personal experience and being a person who has greatly prioritized for most of my adult life, understanding and changing, of course, healing, all that good stuff, my relationship with money. And one thing that I encountered somewhere along the way that was so tried and true that I felt as if I had struck gold, no pun intended, was when I really understood what it meant to take money out of the foreground. Because if you have ever heard some new age wackadoodle, no, I'm just kidding, some woo-woo princess, no, I'm just kidding again, a little bit, talk about how money is energy, then let me break this down for you. I love energy. Energy is so great. I can't get enough of it. I know I will think about energy every day as much as possible. I'll obsess over energy. I'll worry about energy. And the more that I do that, the more energy that I'll have. Meaning that when you put money in the foreground, you do that. That's all you do, is you put money in the foreground. You have accomplished nothing except for that, which is the means to the end of your goal.
What's the foreground? Can I get clarity on that? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The foreground is the most obvious and perhaps extreme example of this is money for money's sake.
Okay.
Okay.
When you're focused entirely on money and money alone.
And also when you are, it's a spectrum of the degree to which that you are placing, sort of, you know, thinking about depth of field here, that you're placing money before, example, why you want the money, what you would do with the money, what the money means to you. If the money is in front of that, you are, I guarantee you, I give you my word, in some way constricting the flow of money to yourself because you're not actually thinking about money. You're not actually engaging with money at all, just the idea of it and
What do you mean by
all your
money before
hangups.
that?
If you are thinking, every time that you think, especially if there's some sort of lack or insecurity attached to it, every time that you place obtaining money, this concept, this idea of money, before what it means to you, either that's a felt sensation, an imagination, a fantasy, a recognition of what it means to you, what you would do with it, who you would give it to, what you'd spend it on. If you want to look at it laterally, you know, or hierarchically, you can. If you put the money before those things, you are constricting the flow of it to you.
Trying to think of like a somewhere where I've done that, like
We've all done it.
Yeah.
I
know-
assure
I
you.
used to gamble.
like I know, like it's like if when I set a time, when I make enough money to set a time aside so I can finally write.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, there's a million examples. We should all just be like, yeah, let me just pop one in there. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
like
there's a
when I get,
million
yeah,
examples. There's a million
yeah.
examples. Or, you know, one of the most insidious ones is rent.
Don't say that word, please.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's a whole, you know, I'm like, you know, don't play with me. I'll make this a series because I'm not gonna get to all of this. Not even like
Oh
probably
yeah. My bad,
fraction
my
of
bad,
it.
my bad. I'll be quiet.
No, even if no one talked for the rest of this anyway. So I mean, I've just this shit's been sitting inside of me for 10 years. What do you expect? It's a lot of stuff. But you know, the like this is a oversimplified version of what I'm trying to say, but I'll employ it anyway, which is that okay, I need to make this sum of money, right? And with rent especially and things like that, bills, we tend to the degree to which we forget what that does for us, what it means, what it enables us to do, what it means to us goes up and up and up and up and up. So the things that bills tend to, not all of them, but a lot of them tend to follow basic necessities. And it's so interesting how when you just think about the sum of money itself, for example, that you need to acquire to continue having said thing that you're paying the bill, the rent for, you are effectively restricting the flow of money to yourself.
By thinking about it, you're restricting the flow.
By putting money in the
Having it fix
foreground.
your attention, or
So like, let me try to rephrase it another way. Can anyone, when I say energy, I don't mean like woo, like physical energy. I mean energy in a, let's say, a scientific way, right? How do you set about acquiring more energy in that denotative sense? You see what I'm getting at?
if you don't have to think about money, if money's handled, then you're
I guess
Well,
you would have to become a bigger conductor or something.
But is money like like you're creating a container that doesn't really exist with the money?
Say that again,
Like,
Raina.
if I want to like I think about my traveling. When I
Okay.
stopped thinking about money, I got to travel everywhere. It was crazy. And I know that's what happened. All of a sudden I stopped thinking about what it costs for me to go places and live this way and la 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 and get on. And I remember the exact moment it happened when I was having issues with like a plane and a train and da. And I just started like moving in this way. And then I got this like, and then it took off from that moment in time. And ever
Money is
since then, I've
mobile.
traveled. Yeah. And so
That's a whole section.
I don't know if I've like getting all of this, but like that's the best way I can put it into any space in my life is like there is like so now money for me, for travel for me, money is quite removed. I cannot say that about any other part of my life.
Right. Like the money follows.
But the
like,
money doesn't
yeah.
seem to be a thing for me with traveling. It just isn't because I had this sort of interesting series of space and I don't know, it was a bunch of shit.
And then if you stay fixed, always waiting, oh, I need to have X amount of money before I can do this, then you never move. The money doesn't move. You don't move. It becomes like this static thing. But like once you start moving, it's almost like the money is part of the movement. It's kind of secondary, right? It comes after the doing.
Because also the value of things seem, if at least for me, again, this is just like how I'm I'm trying to apply it to something in my own life. Like when I stopped adding value to the things, the money was removed because if there's no value, then what's the money? It doesn't mean anything. All that mattered was my emotion of where I wanted
Now
to
it
go,
just,
how I
oh my
wanted to
God, Raina,
live,
that's so
where I
good.
wanted to do it. And so travel for me is not a money-based, I don't have a money-based connection to travel anymore and how
there
I
you go.
travel.
Okay, so that takes me back to what you said at the beginning, Nyoka,
Mm-hmm.
when I got tripped up over there was something tingling I knew about that sentence, but she just closed the loop on it about when like nature's just nature, it doesn't have value until we put our little grubby little hands all over it and generate shit out of it, right? So when you take value off of it, you take all of the pressure, the mechanisms, the expectations, the stops and starts, the speed bumps, all of the logistics around value off of it as well.
I think that to recapitulate in a way what Raina was saying, when Raina, you were saying, from what I understand, when you took the value off of the traveling, that's when it became a problem.
No, it actually, I can't, because it didn't happen so like like
Yeah,
it
no,
didn't happen so like actually like that. It wasn't like,
yeah,
oh, I've decided now nothing costs anything. Like it didn't
yeah.
happen that way either. This is also why I believe I haven't figured out how to like duplicate the sensation and use it someplace else in my life. Like, I don't know, Brent would be a nice start. But it doesn't, it's like you said, it's just not in the foreground. It's not there. It doesn't live there. I don't actually even know where it lives in terms of like my
Relationship with it.
yeah, my relationship with that piece of my life. It doesn't live there anymore for me. Like
You're just
I don't
out
know.
here living.
Yes,
That's
I'm
what I'm
just
saying.
living. Like that
Yeah,
part of
that's
my
what
life,
I'm
I just
saying.
live. I just live it. And that's it.
Exactly. And so the money is always there for it. Because
Yes, and that's what I realized. I realized once I
yes,
started
Right.
just living,
Right.
things were just going to start not appearing, because I don't want to say manifest, because the reason why I don't like to say that is because it's not like, oh, I thought about exactly what I want and that's exactly what showed up. That's not how it works. Yes, there was like a space and an energy of where I want, not an energy, but yes, there was something that I wanted, but it didn't always like go like, this is what I wanted and this is how it showed up. But at
it's
some
not
point,
logical.
I'd be almost on the other side of it and be like, oh yeah, that was that thing that could
Yes.
have been a lot of money, or I don't know, like possibly. I have no idea, but I had that thing, I had that experience, but it's not, I don't know. I don't really know how to go
No, you
into
do.
detail.
This is phenomenal.
about it.
This is phenomenal. This is the whole reason why I wanted to do this thing in the first place. So,
Did your beliefs change though? Is that what I'm hearing?
I had a situation on a train. I think I had read something. I was going through a very like shitty, but yet great, but yet spiritual weird time. And I just had an experience. I was like, I got off a plane in Paris. I hate Paris. I had an issue at the airport. An airport. I hope nobody's French. I hate Parisian men
I
in
hate
particular.
France and that airport.
Don't even get me
I mean, I hate
started.
Paris and that airport. Yeah,
It's awful.
it is.
And I had this moment where I was like, I'm gonna stop worrying about like what's next. Like I was like, I'm not gonna think about what's next. Like I'm here and this is what I'm doing now. And then I kept doing everything that day like that, and everything seemed to work out beautifully, even though it shouldn't have, but it
Based on what your
shouldn't have doesn't make sense.
Off of it.
Yeah, and so I almost took myself off of the path. Like it was like I was moving in this direction and I moved myself off of this path. And because it happened while I was traveling, I think,
You want
like
else to visit?
I was gonna miss a train, I wasn't gonna have a place to stay. I like all these things were gonna fall apart. And I took myself off of worrying about it in this singular moment. Actually, what happened was I was being harassed, and that was more of my focus. Real problems about getting on a train and having a place to stay and all of that. And I was like, I need to mentally go someplace because I'm being harassed and I can't physically go anywhere because I have to be here to get a COVID test. So I just be harassed. But anyways, and I think that all of that happening in that moment, I got to remove all those other things. And then I was like, I just moved through it. And then at the end of that, the next morning, I remember thinking, that all worked out. I didn't worry about, and at some point I stopped thinking about the money. I really did. I didn't worry about that I was going to have to pay for another place. I didn't worry about not having a car, all of the things that I was worried about because of the money. Because that's the only reason I was worried about the money. When I looked back on the experience of the day before, didn't happen. And after that, I was like, huh, okay, I know what that felt like. And then that's it, because I knew what it felt like.
What did it feel like?
Honestly, I just felt very like present is not a strong enough word for it, but there was a level of just I was where I was, and that was it.
Like acceptance.
And every literal second, I was exactly where I was. I did like in a way that I don't know even that I've been able to duplicate again in my life, but I do think it was triggered because of this very stressful situation I was in. And maybe it was a surrendering to the situation I was in because it was so intense and I didn't have an out. I couldn't find an out. And I also had this other stress, but that stress had to stop. It needed to stop. The money stress needed to stop because I was having so much stress in the present moment.
So
And
through resistance, you created the reality you wanted to.
yeah, I think through surrendering to what was, because I
That's
just
the
couldn't.
power of reality.
Yeah, I was in the reality of what was happening to me so intensely, even
Yes.
though I was like, I'm like dealing with this, and I'm like, but I have to worry about this, but I have to worry about this, and that had to disappear because I had to, and I couldn't get out of the situation I was in. So it was a weird thing to like, I don't, but yeah, at some point it dissipated, and then everything seemed to happen very like smoothly. Like this person, I didn't have to take the train. I went to go buy a ticket. I couldn't buy it. I didn't know how to buy a ticket. I said, oh, be calm. Ask somebody. Somebody said they were going somewhere. Somebody had a car. They like just drove me to the place. They like met this other person. Like all these things seemed to happen, and I only paid attention to the singular moment that day, like very acutely in a way that I don't know I've ever done again. But I did hold on to something in that moment. My system trusted something about travel past money after that. So I'm hoping I don't have to go through an anxiety state made to produce it in another situation. But I for some reason I did have always felt like that situation I was in the moment trigger probably sparked something greater in me to take over. So I
It
don't
sounds
really
like it.
I
yeah.
have heard it
So
said that if you're in the flow of the spirit, the only thing you can expect is the next step, the very next one. Everything
mm,
else is kind of
yes,
irrelevant.
that's
Hard to do
exactly what I
though.
was like. It was just literally just that. Like I literally could only focus on that second of what was happening. And I didn't realize it till I thought about it the next day. I was like, whoa, what was that? That was interesting, you
Hmm.
know. So I don't know. I think I understand this, but I also can't say that I understand this because I clearly have only one space that I think I understand it in. So that was, I don't know, 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's
So Naya,
wonderful.
what were you gonna say about how do you think that situation relates to the money thing?
Well, before that, I wanted to go back to what you were saying, Q, and the whole reason that I wanted to clarify my understanding of what Raina was sharing is um because what I was understanding from what you were saying, Q, is that you were talking about suspending or removing the value of something, right?
Yeah, like taking it out of like this whole thing started on me asking about taking it out of the foreground. Like, what does that mean? And it's preoccupation with the value,
Not the
preoccupation.
value, the money.
Hmm.
It serves you to be preoccupied, and I take that with a grain of salt with the word choice, with the value. But money, like energy, is spirit. It is spirit realized expressing itself. And so the minute that you try to comprehend or apprehend it, you distance yourself from it. Money is mobile. Money money is happening. It's a very happening thing. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. What I'm trying to say is when you put money, not value, not anything, I'm talking about money, cash money, or not cash, when you preoccupy yourself with it, when you put it in the foreground, what you think that you're focusing on is not money. It is your idea of it, which has all this stuff wrapped up in it. So if you want money to flow into your life, then you would be better off, to speak very simply and to quantify, to focus more on what the fuck are you gonna do with it?
Mm.
Why do you want it?
And that could technically be applied to anything, or is this specifically money?
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I want you actually to think, when you think about money, I want you to hear the word anything. Because that's closer to the actuality of it than whatever you look at when you see your bank account.
But it
Don't
is
de-
also true. No, go on.
Don't deceive yourself in thinking that you know what those numbers indicate. It's a lie. You can't actually conceive, you cannot actually comprehend in its totality what those numbers indicate. That's completely antithetical to the reality of what money is. Why bother? It has a detrimental effect. No need. No
Hard to
need to
do
do
when
that.
the economic system does have numbers on everything.
I'm not saying don't look at the numbers. I'm saying don't think you know what they indicate. Bring
So I guess
more
my
and more.
question is, how can I double my number? How can I
Yeah, all the
double
numbers are just half of what I actually
the
want.
number I
Like,
have right now?
where's
How
the
can I
get rich
double it
quick
within
part of
1
this,
year?
Nio?
I would be 100%
What's the
honest.
secret sauce? How can I double my numbers?
Oh, I love this group. This is phenomenal. All right, we'll get into more of the material. Listen, if y'all will have me, I would love to host at least a part 2 of this, because there is no way it's not possible for me to get to all of this, and there's a lot in here. And some of it is works in a way that we have to start here to understand this point,
Mhm.
but we shall carry on regardless. We talked about that. I'll rephrase. I'll say this again as I have it in my notes. Every time you're thinking only about money, you are in opposition to money, because what you are thinking about is not actually money. It's the idea of it. If you are thinking of what you would use money for, you are closer to the reality of money. A tidbit. You should never think too hard about money, because in all actuality, you can't. I'm sorry, this shit is hilarious sometimes.
What
Mostly
if
because
you
I'm
think
thinking about
about
my
the
dad.
flow that money represents? Like, what if you envision
Mhm.
why you're getting the money? Is
Mhm.
that further up the totem pole, or?
So on the spectrum of closer to the actuality of what money actually is thinking about money as being mobile, as being whatever it is you're doing with it, whatever it gives you the freedom to express, be. It's a tool, in other words, right? And what good is a hammer if you just keep thinking about it? Perhaps you should think about what the fuck you'd like to build. It'll get you closer to actually experiencing the thing that you're trying to build. Why do you keep thinking about the hammer?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's almost like our step one is like, oh, money, money, money. And then like second
Yes.
phase is that
Step
we're thinking,
one.
ooh, house, 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 house. And then after
Yes.
the house, it's almost like once like our toolbox is almost full, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We know we can almost like that toolbox is full and it's just gonna be there and we just do. So it's like money, 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 house, 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 do, do, do. Like
The order
I'm
is all
looking at it
wrong.
right, right. Exactly.
It's
No,
very that
I can't do anything until I have this perfect hammer. It has to be exactly this way and that way and that way, or else
Yes.
I can't use it. That's just, yeah.
Okay,
And I'm
first of all,
poking fun at
Naoka, you're gonna
myself
have to
right
start
there.
selling hammers, and
Oh,
then
yes. Oh, yes.
and then you gotta sell a T-shirt that says "Money is happening" because I love that.
Money is money is happening. Money is not a hammer. That'd be a good one.
Yes.
No, money is the hammer. I don't know. Fuck it. Yeah, no, it's coming. It's already see, it's already, you can buy it as soon as you
I
get
love
off
it.
this call. You can buy
Exactly.
your shirt that says money is happening. You, you can think endlessly hard on the idea of money or energy or spirit. You can think as hard as you want to. Many have done it. A lot of them are philosophers. We love that. But do not for a second think that you are touching money when you do that. You're not. You're touching the idea of it. And do you want the idea of money or do you want the money? These are questions to ask yourself. Okay. Another way to reckon with this whole little section is money comes through the venue of focus, not effort.
You say that one
Big
more
ol'
time.
money flows through the venue of focus, not effort. Money does not require effort.
So in other words, if you think about money, it will just appear.
Yeah, Adam. That's what I'm saying.
Is that stack of cash there yet, Adam? Is it on the desk?
I'm just
If I get off this call and check my bank account and my money is not there, we're gonna have problems.
Can I speak to your manager?
Oh man. This is rich.
Well, when you say focus, it makes me think of Simone Weil, which is like attention is like the most purest form of like
Prayer.
love or something. Or it's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like
Attention is the
focus.
highest form of prayer.
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. And it makes me think of but it is interesting because it's not like I don't want to say like, oh, just pray for money and you're coming, but there is something about like focus versus effort. It almost is like that attention versus like force or something.
or
Yeah.
will. Effort and will.
Yeah, are you placing your will in the direction of, no, there's a more precise way I can say this. Piggybacking off of what you're saying with the Simone Weil quote, with prayer. We're going to leverage prayer with money. Prayer, in all actuality, has nothing to do with asking for anything. Nothing.
Yeah,
Closer
it's
to,
not a petition.
what's that?
You cannot petition the Lord with prayer.
Exactly. Yeah, Morrison told me that when I was a teenager.
You would be closer to prayer if you were simply living in a way that pleased you. Yeah. And placing your attention on things that are benefic to yourself and to the people around you by proxy. Where will comes in is, it's a question of asking yourself, where are you focusing your will? Are you focusing your will on being able to apprehend and attain something of which you merely only have an idea? Or are you utilizing your will in the direction of the thing that would actualize more of some of these, divine states of being in your life? Joy, freedom, mercy, compassion, all of these things. The things that make life sweet and worth living. Freedom being a very, very high one when it comes to money. One of the highest expressions or utilities of money is freedom. Think about the bartering system. Think of how little freedom you had to actualize your goals and dreams or even your basic necessities if you didn't have something that other people valued around you. So, therefore, like attracts like is another thing. Ian, you mentioned the law of attraction and things like that. We're getting back into territory that I think everyone here is familiar with. What what do you want to do with the money? Really though, how much do you how visceral, how real? Those are the kinds of ideations and fantasies that you can make more and more real in your inner landscape. You can philosophize and contemplate the idea of money and energy and spirit, and you're going to get a lot of intangible results. They're still helpful and valuable, but they don't convert as easily by design to tangibility.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like most of us here probably have an inkling of that and like know that. But then day to day we forget. Day to day it's like so easy to slip into shit, I need $20 more for this thing.
Yeah. If
Or
you
else
ever find
the world
yourself in that situation,
you know.
yeah, if you're ever in a pinch, like it's all in our language, folks, seriously, right? Okay, before I go on this pinch thing, this little hot tip, it's all it's literally all there in the language and the idioms and the turns of phrases and whatnot. You ever heard that phrase, living beyond your means or living within your means?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Means, as in, what does it really mean to you? Are you trying to live in a way that's not reflective of things that actually matter to you, that mean something to you fundamentally as a person? Right? So when you're in a pinch, think about a pinch. A pinch is to some degree, it's a contraction. It's a pinch, it's uncomfortable, right? When something is pinched or cinched, it's constricted. You have to constrict the skin to pinch somebody. If you're ever in a pinch, the first thing that you should do is prioritize. This is probably not going to come as a surprise either. Relaxing, like it is the only solution. That's the high value that you should place as relaxation being a solution-oriented maneuver if you are in a financial pinch.
Penny pincher.
Yeah. Yeah. People
So
are real
here,
uptight about money. Tight.
Relaxing.
Mm.
A natural unclenching. A natural I don't know to what degree it matters whether it's unaided or not. Like I need to take a hot bath versus
Whatever means necessary.
yeah.
deliberately relaxing. So, like, I go to the
Yeah.
sauna. So I deliberately go to the sauna.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like
Whatever works for you.
surrendering too. Surrendering is a verb, but it is kind of relaxing because you're giving up control.
Yes. Yeah, you're by deliberately, excellent word choice, deliberately deciding to relax. The way that you're accessing your human free will in those moments and everything that follows in terms of what you decide to do is going to put you closer to money than than anything else, because you're still, this is just an aside, you're still utilizing your will, but the way that which you're utilizing your will is closer to the reality and the actuality of money. I mean, it's really, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it perhaps is safe to say that everyone has in some way encountered, and I hope had a conversation with someone who currently is or grew up impoverished to some degree. And if you just listen, if you listen to what they say about money, about how they position themselves in relation to it, you can see how much it dominates their mind and how much it is at the foreground of their mind. A lot of these things are not, they're not, certainly not invisible, and they're not difficult to perceive. They're not difficult to find examples for either. But Ian, you make an excellent point. In that it is particularly easy to fall into habits and patterns and things like that, that ironically enough are antithetical to receiving and experiencing more money, which we all want. We
I've been
all
trying to
want
find some
money.
rich friends because those rich people do not be thinking about money at all. They are very relaxed.
Yeah, this idea that people who have the more, that's been my experience. The more money that I have had in my life compared to the times where I had pretty much no money and was homeless for a long time, the more money I have, the less I think about money. I mean, that's just,
There
just
was a
set that on the
direct
shelf.
there was a direct line in Blue Eyed Samurai about that, where this guy was contemplating like what it feels like to be rich. He had no idea he was talking to the princess of a dynasty, and she was just like, it feels like not thinking about being rich.
Oh, that was wow,
That was her
verbatim. Yeah,
exact answer. That was her exact answer. She was
yeah.
like, everybody seems to think this is a big deal, you know?
When
And
you're
it
just out here living.
infuriates. It's infuriating when you don't understand this, when you're locked in this old way of thinking and you watch someone blatantly not give a damn about all their dreams coming true at the snap of a finger, or resources being readily available to them without gargantuan effort. It's infuriating. Um,
It's difficult to watch
it
sometimes.
can be difficult to watch.
It is.
But tough titty.
Yeah, and that's why, at the risk of many, many conversations I've had throughout my life in many different kinds of company and scenarios, as it relates to things like greed and, and wealth and people who spend millions of dollars when there are people starving and whatnot. Um, you know, this isn't a hypothetical example. They've actually tried this where they have taken homeless people and put them in a wonderful new home. Does anybody want to venture so far as to guess what happened?
Completely
Oh, I know
destroyed.
the story, but I'll let you tell it.
But what does that have to do with money? Can we talk about how to make some money, Nayo?
Oh, Aaron, you're a doll. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Manel is
Yeah.
back.
Like, yo, I got dream boards on dream boards. I got vacations ready to be spent. I got the Philippines, Peru, Portugal, name it. Like, my manifestation goals are good. I got that, right? Just what can I help with the blockages? Like, I want to receive.
How
That's
much money do you give, Aaron?
What?
How much money do you give away?
Should I give? I give a lot of my positive energy all the time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, just from personal experience, I try and give 10% of everything I make away, and it's always been a very, very contradictory thing, but I always end up making more.
Great.
there is truth to that. There's a lot of
It's a
truth to that,
circuit.
actually.
Although there's a lot of truth that poor people give a lot more than rich people give.
I don't know about that at all.
All of these are
I
beliefs
feel
and
like
not
that.
proven. to be honest.
That's true.
They're
Excuse me,
indoctrinations
as
and beliefs.
respectfully,
Oh.
lovingly, as a DoorDasher, a former DoorDasher, I know that to be true.
No, that's not true at all.
Like when you think about just like on the day to day, like who's given that tip or who's given like the person who's asking for money, it's another person who doesn't really have any money too. It's not like the dude who could write the check for $1,000 is giving that lady in the parking lot the $1,000.
That might be a discussion for another time. But
yeah,
I'm willing to have it.
Yeah. Also, you don't know where they're giving it to. Like, you have
yeah,
to, I
that's
think that
also another
there's
piece.
this assumption that like rich people, if they're not giving to the cause that we give to, like I think
Yeah.
about
Or I didn't
people who
see
I
him
know are
do
well
it.
off and pay for, well, no, they pay for other things. Like I've been places traveling because somebody else is paying for it and I'm not giving anything. I am just showing up to be myself. And like technically they gave that money away. Like
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of my
I'm
favorite
I'm
stories.
just
in-
not a homeless recipient, but I am someone who could not afford
I mean, I give away money to the government. Is that good enough? That's more than 10%.
No,
Like,
it's
Is
my-
that a
obligatory.
gift?
Well, you used your JW points.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a
I
gift.
don't count my taxes in that
I think you've been
10%.
strong armed.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
he
I've been
was strong
in
on by
that.
some doctrine.
No, in all actuality, that is there there is something very there is something to be said about gift money, literally. And out of, if there are three forms of money, which is there's money that you use to, there's purchase money, there's lending money, and there's gift money, right? Out of the three, the one that is most nourishing and healthy and actually evolves and grows the economic organism is gift money.
So what if you borrow money and then they screw you over? Can you convert that to gift money or?
Oh my God.
Oh my
Tell
God,
me
It's the other
Adam, you're
color.
the
the intent
best.
behind it, Adam. Yeah, it's the intent behind it.
No,
That's
that
We're
would go
always
in the
working
second
angles, bruh.
category.
That's why I never lend.
Retroactive
I never lend. If someone needs money, I give
Okay.
it, but I never lend money.
Yes. Aaron, to speak more directly to your question, in all actuality, and you can take this as a pitch if you want to, I would have to get to know you personally because the answers to your questions are a case by case, very individual type thing. People are very complex, and the reasons for why, you know, with specificity that things aren't happening or money isn't flowing are incredibly individual reasons.
Yes,
Well, that sounds like an invitation.
I'm very aware of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
More playful than anything because I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, to be honest. So
I
just,
love it. I love it.
I
Aaron,
have
you can
always been
practice gift
abundant-minded.
money with me. That's fine.
What's that?
Said you can always practice your gift money techniques with me. I'll be glad to help out with
I'm
that.
so open to receive if anyone's looking.
So-
Yo, my Venmo is
Love it.
open.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God. Oh
So what's the
God.
story though? To circle back with the homeless, are we gonna complete that story or like
Fuck
the
those
people
homeless people.
watching this video? Like,
Well, it kind of got shot down.
Adam, the fact that you are bringing us back in says a lot for this.
This is a scarcity mindset. I don't want
Oh my God, my cheeks are smiling.
Uh,
Yeah, no,
I think it's a
that-
good sign we're laughing so much talking about money. That's good.
that's
woohoo!
fantastic.
I mean,
Fantastic.
I would venture to
Good
say they
point,
didn't
Ian.
fare well, or like they slept on the floor, or like it just wasn't a good experience.
Ian, how's the story end?
I don't know the specific story you're talking about, but I've read several studies on it.
The studies, yes.
Are you gonna say
Well,
Francisco?
oftentimes it doesn't work out, you know? If your
That's
intent and
the
will is not behind creating something for yourself, it doesn't
Mhm.
work out very well. It's kind of the same story as, you know, sometimes you see the young teenagers who have well enough off families and they might have really nice cars. Well, this, you know, it's an overwhelmingly high ratio of them destroy the car, don't take care of it, things like that.
Mhm.
But you see people who have worked for it and saved and really done everything because they really wanted that car. They visualized that car. They loved that car. They couldn't wait to drive that car and pick up their date in that car. I mean, they usually take really good care of it.
Right, they take ownership of it. But also, now it makes me think of how, when you say like you can only like receive as much as you're like capable of holding or something, it's almost like it's
you
very
only perceive
foreign. It's
that
like
what you are. Yeah.
right. And so you're like plucking this person that has like nothing, putting them in this like very foreign place that completely does not match up an alignment to like who they even are or who they envision themselves to be. And so it's literally not a match, literally something they cannot receive because they cannot perceive what they are not or something.
So that's why I'm like, what good would you really do if you took this money and just gave it to the poor people? What do you fucking accomplish there? Why is that
Right.
such this like, oh, that's what we would do. That's the good moral decision.
Well, see, it's tough though for gift money, like I was saying, how I'd give 10%.
Mhm.
Sometimes if I feel led, I will give some to say people begging on the street or things like that. But oftentimes
Mhm.
I'm open to a lot of different avenues if I really think that the good will be propagated through that. Like if it's something I
Good
believe,
word.
you know what I mean? Something that is going to actually do something. And, you know, I know sometimes intentions are good, but sometimes giving people money, if they might not do the best things with it, maybe that's not the for me to say or to judge, which is why I leave myself open to that leading. Sometimes I do give money away to where some people would be like, why would you do that? But oftentimes it's to things that I really do feel like are going to propagate, benefit things.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the one of the chief reasons why it's good to develop your faculties of intuition, because this should be a case by case basis
Yeah.
in
Well,
terms
their
of the
relationship with money, right? People that win money, you hear it all the time.
Mhm.
They don't have a good relationship with money, so they spend it all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the lottery
Like
winners. Yeah.
athletes and stuff like that. But if you
Destroy
know
it.
the value of money, then you can create an abundance and keep it.
I mean, it the 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 value of money doesn't even come into the picture until some sort of exchange happens. And the best way you can reckon with that is this dichotomous structure where there is basically a creditor and a lender. Whoever is giving money to another person, that person is the creditor, and the person who receives it is the debtor. I don't know what word I just used for a second. I said creditor and debtor, I'm assuming. And so um what the debtor is receiving is, even though we don't think about these things, is honestly they're receiving ideally what they would do with the spirit of that money. That's why, for example, people who have an excessive amount of capital will sometimes invest, a lot of times invest large amounts of that capital into a singular debtor who has a brilliant idea that is spirit. So, but this is happening every time this takes place. But until that takes place, there is no value to the money. None. Absolutely none.
Could you say that another way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See if I can.
I have it written probably 6 different ways in my notes for this reason. Let me scroll back up.
Nice. For people like me, thank you.
I love to rephrase things a million different ways. My partner, not so keen on this. He's like, I gotta stop saying it in a million different ways. I'm like, but what if it meant more if I said this? Anyway. Okay. 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 So the person who gives the money is, you could say, lender or creditor, right? Person who receives the money is the debtor, right? What he actually is receiving is a non-entity, is nothing. Okay, right? Just for a second, follow me. We'll bring this on.
Yeah.
Okay. But from the other side, or on the other side, he is economically responsible as a spiritual creator. Okay, again, bear with me. So it doesn't matter whether you conceive the lender or the creditor as the real owner of this money, excuse me, or whether or not you conceive either party the way that our law system does. I hope that drives that home. We're just really looking at, and we're coming full circle here, the economic process. How does it actually occur in a big picture, full circle kind of way, right? So there's a lot of words here. So the most important thing basically is what is the spirit, or what is the intelligence of the person who receives the money? That's the most important thing to consider. Because when we're in all the time, we are cycling, toggling between these two roles, creditor or lender and debtor. So every time that we receive money, there is an economical quasi-spiritual responsibility that we, generally speaking, are not aware of, but directly correlates with, for example, how much money we can receive and how much value we can actually experience in our life, by which money is a vehicle or a medium to actualize that. I don't know if that was more or less.
So, but what if
helpful.
it shifts though? Like, what if, I want to be a millionaire, but then with inflation, a couple years,
Why? My
million's
first
just not
question
going
would
to cut
be,
it.
what do you want to do with the $1 million? Do you know?
Oh, me? Well, I would just buy more real estate and live off that.
Real estate where?
Well, I live in Minnesota. I have a triplex. I mean, I'd be open to going other places, but my point is like I'd be hands off, right? So like if you own a few properties, you can hire a company to take care of it, and they can do all the labor. They take a cut, but you still come out ahead. And then
Yeah.
Passive income.
you get the equity and the income,
Hmm.
you know, because with real estate, there's a lot of tax write-offs versus
Then
like
what'd
stock.
you do?
What'd you say, Q?
And then what would you do?
Ah.
Then what would I do?
Yeah.
Travel.
You're talking about you're talking about the stuff. What are you doing it for?
Oh, to free up my time so I can just travel. Like Aaron said, go to Peru, go to East Asia, go
That's a
to
really complicated way to get there, Adam. I'm sure you need all those extra steps.
well, I mean, I could go right now, but I don't want like there's a belief there that I need more, right?
Oh, I'm just saying this means to the end with the real estate. Is that more of a logical, profitable idea or something that actually does matter to you? Like, would it bring
It's
you
security.
joy to
It's
Yeah,
security.
no.
Well, I
See,
mean, you know,
no, it's not.
it could
Sorry,
bring me
it's not.
security. What are you inside my consciousness? No, it would bring me security.
No, I don't doubt that, but it
Yeah.
isn't security. It would bring you security, but that's not, it isn't security. It wouldn't be security for someone else. For someone else, it would be, oh my God, it'd be so stressful they might like harm themselves. So for you, it is security.
But that's
Yeah.
why you have the company that runs it for you. But you have to get to a certain level. You have to level up, in my opinion.
Level
And
up.
belief that I
Mhm.
have. Yeah.
Well, I think he means, mainly obviously financial security.
Yes.
Not like security,
Not spiritual.
financial security.
I have a different realm for spiritual security.
Well, I don't really think that they should be too separate, really.
Oh, okay.
Just
That's
true.
my whole point.
Oh,
That's
that's
a
your whole
brilliant
point.
way to wrap this up. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Because to a certain degree, if there is a huge discrepancy between what you can provide for yourself in terms of the felt and believed and trusted sensation, if you will, of security, if there's a discrepancy between that, what you can self-source that, and how much you can, utilize and perform certain things that help engender that feeling, you're always going to have some degree of an issue with money.
How do you prove that belief to be true?
How do I do not prove it. I do not prove it to be true. My this comes a lot from personal experience. It also comes a lot from anthroposophy or spiritual science and other kinds and other outgrowths of classical esoterica. So, in other words, the longest lineage of knowledge that exists on this planet, far preceding money in the way that we reckon with it today. And so the idea of tracing back certain things that have over time either come to represent or have literally made their way in a material sense into our consciousness and on this planet as money, there is within the lineage a way to study that and understand that from a spiritual perspective and look at it in a broader picture and trace patterns and things, not just within spirituality and within, sociology, for example, but within sociology, within economics, for example, in a broad strokes way. And look at these patterns through larger swaths of time, right? And so a lot if not the vast majority of the material that I compiled to, you know, to sort of demo some of it here tonight, that is coupled with my own personal study in my, you know, in my life, and what results I've obtained there, my hypotheses and whatnot, and of course the things that I've observed in the people around me. All of that accumulated is what you might call, certainly not my proof, but my source material.
I guess
And the main,
mine
go
is
ahead.
passive income. The whole point was passive, so I don't have to be there for it. And I can free up my time to do what I want. So that's the goal.
I
Because
think that
even
takes
like,
us.
you know, when Raina was like bringing in her travel thing, like she's still going to work. Like you weren't you like you still had income coming in, right? Like when you were traveling or no?
Well, yeah, so my job is remote. Like I don't have to work in an office anymore.
Mhm. Because I
Um
think like where the most of us get hung up is, you know, like so, you know, for Adam, the way he makes money or this passive income, you know, and I don't know, maybe you have another job too, but like that would be like in replace of having to go to work every day, you generate this income through real estate, right? Um, it's like no matter what my beliefs are or how open I am, it's like if I just stopped going to work, then I wouldn't like, you know what I mean? It's not like money's going to show up to pay the rent. It's not like money's going to show up to pay the insurance. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like I still have to go to the grocery store and buy the money. So it's like I think like there's such a big leap of it's like, okay, it doesn't matter like how I truly believe, how I truly think, how I truly feel, um, whatever blocks, like, because if even if I wholeheartedly believe that the money's going to show up, I don't want to do this job anymore because I'm morally opposed to my job or something. And I'm just not going to do it anymore. But you still have to do something to generate the money to pay the bill. So I think that's where like the main blockage for me personally is like how, like, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't, again, like we could philosophically talk all around this, but it's like it's still that notion of like we are still part of the economic system that has been used in this very specific way.
so
Well, this
I
is
just want to clarify in terms of my travel, I don't think about where the money's coming from ever. And
Mhm.
I wish I could transmute that to other spaces in my life. I haven't like this conversation actually has truly made me realize that I do not. I just don't. It's not if for some reason it doesn't fit into my mind that way anymore. But it does every place else. I think about where the money's going to come from like everybody else, but I don't in terms of travel. And that is the thing that happened in that moment in that space. Again, I don't have the words and maybe I just haven't spent enough time trying to sort out the process of how that came about. But one thing I can tell you, I do not think about where the money's coming from. That's not even I don't even think about not thinking about where the money's coming from. I don't think about it. It's not a thing. Like, and that's what I guess again, I don't think about it. So I haven't thought about it till being here that I don't think about it. Like, I don't know if that helped, like, it might not help in like getting there, but I don't know if that helps some clarity in like, you know, those those steps that we talk about collapse because they don't exist anymore. Like for me, they just don't exist,
very good.
you know?
Those steps collapsed. I love that. I will remember
Because you
that.
didn't have any steps.
That's
So where
that's-
steps?
that's what I
Find
was
steps if you're
that's
present.
what I was trying to touch when I was circling back to.
Hear that, Adam? Sorry.
Yes, I hear great.
Sorry. Go on, Q. I'm sorry.
I think that's what I was trying to touch is when you put like there's money in my head, it goes there's money and then there's the process or the resource and then all this stuff that we attach to the resource that makes all these steps. She just collapsed that. That's why you can't figure out where it comes from because it's not there to figure out in the first place or to trace or to track. to say, okay, where is this money coming from in this travel? And what you think about in other areas in your life is why the steps are there to begin with, or that constriction, you know, for whatever beautiful circumstances that led you into, and of course, it's almost always a high intensity contrasting event that takes place, and it just pushes you through some creation or outside of it, and you make this shift, and you collapsed this structure, this set of expectations, this set of frameworks that tell you you have to do this and this and this and this and this to get to the money.
In that order.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so you
no, I get it.
collapsed it entirely. Like, just delete.
All right.
Yeah. And there's so many infinite ways that those steps could look in people's minds. And the thing, because we're definitely a little past time. So the thing, Vanessa, to your point that I'd like to end with before I really wrap things up here, is my story. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I will be very, very honest with you. I in my all throughout my late teens and early 20s, I struggled with, this is about 10% depression and 90% rage. And every time that I found a job and it seemed like it was going to meet my needs, obviously I love people, so I'm always, a cashier or a barista or whatever. I got to be around people no matter what. After, sometimes it was a week, sometimes it was a month. I never worked a job longer than 9 months. I got to the point where I literally felt suicidal. And so there's a longer version of this, but I'm going to make it very short, sweet, and to the point for you. I came to a moment in my life in which, with 100% conviction, I decided that if I could not make money, make a living, what have you, doing precisely what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, that I was going to kill myself. That is how intense it was for me. It was life or death for me. And that was over 10 years ago. So I don't necessarily have a point to make with that, but one that I could potentially hypothetically make, and one that I am always in some ways trying to indirectly point to every time I do anything that is related to my work, is that it is possible.
So you collapsed all the steps, though, is what I'm hearing. 10 years ago, you collapsed all the steps.
I didn't. No, I did not start with collapsing all the steps. No, I did not. That's not how. But I did start with, I am going to start doing the thing that I love doing more than anything else in the world. I'm going to tell people what amount of money I will receive for doing it. And I'm going to tell people that I am doing it. And I'm going to leave my job. That's how it started for me.
Oh.
And I'm here to tell you, this was way before tarot readings and psychics and all of that stuff was anywhere near trendy, barely even accepted, highly taboo, very frowned upon, extremely, skeptical, whatever. So there are not many other that I am aware of lines of work that are the least marketable, especially at that time, than the one that I chose, the only one I could choose, because next to my daughter, there's nothing else that brings me more joy than what I do within my work. That was my option. And so even though all the odds were against me and I had absolutely no help, still it happened. So
Beautiful.
yeah. So I like to encourage people that it can happen. Very possible. So listen, I want to thank you guys, especially Aaron, especially Adam, for taking a chance and again showing up here on spec. I really appreciate it. As I said, this is something that I do through my Patreon. I will warn you, if you were to go to my Patreon and see what other kinds of things I am doing there, it is a lot of things, and there it's a lot of things, and you might get lost in the sauce a little bit. But I think the main reason why people stick around, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, is what you already know of, which is now what I'm calling The Other Weather, which I host every third Wednesday. We would love to have you. As you can see, we're a wily but a kind bunch. And so consider, if you would, hopping in on this train. As far as LOAM goes, this one was a gift to all my patrons and anyone they wanted to invite. I would love to host another one of these on the same subject to get through some of this material. And if anyone's interested in that, either get in touch with me directly, or I'll know if people suddenly start joining that tier that it's not just a party of one. Q, I love you. I would do it just for you.
Love it.
Yeah. Yes, but the main thing I want to say is thank you, because this was fabulous. This was better than I even anticipated.
It was a really great conversation. It was really nice to like have some fresh blood in the virtual
Yeah.
room. So it was really nice to meet you,
Yes.
Adam and Aaron.
Yeah,
Yes, Adam, you're always to bring your welcome to bring your damn shenanigans here.
Yeah.
Yes. More men. We need some more men.
Yeah, like,
Ian's a
it is-
Lone Ranger.
It is quite charming. Quite charming.
And Adam loves being a token guy.
All right.
He's like, that's
Oh,
it.
boy.
And we end our call.
He's like, this is my new identity.
When Noah's gonna start roasting me, I gotta go. All right.
Oh.
Like the wolves. Run, baby, run.
Yeah,
Oh.
we like
You're gonna lose.
He's a little bro to us. He's a little bro.
How do you how do you all know each other? How do you and Aaron and Adam know each other?
We share a career path, and Aaron and I, we go back like spinal cords, baby. We got
Ooh.
long
With
history.
the wordplay, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember when you were prego and the
Yes,
kitchen
pregnant with
and
that bum in the
Adam,
other room. Yes.
and we dreamed our very first entrepreneurial adventure.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Literally
I didn't
wrote
know
down.
that. I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
you knew
yeah,
Aaron
we
that
go-
long. That's wild.
Oh,
Yeah, we go way
Oh, I
back.
didn't know
way
that.
back. Yeah.
and Layla, Churdy Birdie.
Churdy
I remember
birdie.
teaching her how to ride a
Yeah.
bike.
Aaron taught Miles how to ride a bike.
No, really?
Yeah.
I have so many memories. Oh my
And-
gosh. And then
I
Q knows
love this.
everyone in my family. So she can like
Yeah.
literally go
I
to
can
my
tell
cousin,
on you.
literally goes to the cousin's turkey dinner and like, yo, that dried ass turkey. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not there.
Aaron, I had an apple salad. The apple salad was chopped apples with mayonnaise on it. You need to talk to Mama Joe about that nonsense. I'm just saying.
My cousin
This is
very
serious.
interesting.
Mama Joe, I will never go to that Thanksgiving again. Lord have mercy.
When Q told me, she's like, Aaron, I ate a spoonful of mayo.
I thought it was whipped cream.
What the fuck?
Oh
Sounds
my
good to
Oh,
me.
that's
Put
so
out the
bad.
in their apples, and I'm like, yeah,
Oh my God.
I don't eat any of
I
this.
don't do that.
I was like, I go to Chick-fil-A
wrong.
before dinner.
That's wrong.
Yes.
Naoka, really thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
You're
Mayaka. This
so
was awesome.
welcome.
Yeah, it was
Awesome.
really good.
I'm so
It's a good
glad.
conversation, and I'm percolating on quite a few things, and I'm definitely going to follow up with you later.
I'm here. I'm always here.
All right,
Yes.
guys.
You guys, I love you dearly. Thanks so much. I'll
Cool.
catch you on
Bye,
the flip
guys.
side.